Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a great honor for me to be here with all of you today. It's been many, many years since I spoke at a CABE convention. I remember when Roberto Cruz started this organization and they had their first convention, they were much smaller. So this is incredible to see the size of this group that you have here today, especially when we have so many challenges that are facing our Latino community. I think sometimes we wonder, how did we get here? How did we, the richest country in the United States of America, get into the situation that we're in right now? Well, I believe the answer is education. And you might say, wait, that doesn't make sense. Well, the way that I see it is this, that we have a great educational structure in the United States of America. But we have to change the content of what we teach in the United States of America. If we wonder, how did all of this racism, the misogyny, the sexism, the homophobia, the bigotry, why is that so prevalent? Why is our country so divided? Well, I think it's because, guess what? They did not teach our children, and all of us went to school here, probably, or most of us, but we were not taught in elementary school that the Native Americans were the first slaves in the United States. That we took this land from Native Americans and we never said thank you, never paid them for the property that we took. Many of our Native American population in the United States it's really sad the way they are treated. And then talk about the African slaves. They built the White House. They built the Congress of the United States of America. They built Thomas Jefferson's home in Montebello. Were we taught that? No, we weren't. And what about the people, the immigrants that came here? Oh, first of all, and I want to say this to all the teachers, please teach that California, Nevada, Arizona, Texas, okay? Nuevo Mexico, that was Mexico, right? And that Mexico with the Aztecs and the Mayas, and Peru with the Incas, and that Mexico had the largest city in the world, has always been, and that the civilizations of Latin America were huge and in Mexico, while many of the European countries, people were still living in caves, okay? That needs to be taught. And the immigrants from Mexico that came here and that, tilled the lands, did the railroads, people from China, people from Japan, people from India, that came here and built the infrastructure of this country. This needs to be in our school book starting with kindergarten. Because if our children of color do not know their history, they will never feel the dignity and the respect that they deserve, and they will always feel like second-class citizens. And our Anglo children will have that poison that will be fed to them of white supremacy and white privilege. And I don't think that we want to grow any more neo-Nazis in the United States of America. We don't need any more. And then let's talk about that we educate our women. We need to educate our women, our little girls, that they can be strong. So if we look at the animal kingdom, and we're in the top of that kingdom, who are the most ferocious, the male or the female? But that isn't the way that we teach our girls, okay? Unfortunately, we have this culture, la cultura, that teaches our girls that they are going to be victims. Instead of teaching them that they have to be strong, that they are equal to the boys, yes, equal to the boys, and that they have to support themselves and think about a career for themselves, and that they should not let anybody dominate them, that they should not let anybody dominate them. We have to start putting that into our curriculums. And I know these are kind of like maybe, I'm sure many places that we're already doing that. And then there's another thing, bigotry, looking down on people that work with their hands. I was so happy to see many of our leaders who talk about the fact that they are the children of farm workers. But somehow in our society, and often in our school books that we have, we don't teach them to respect the people that work with their hands. The word in Spanish, educación. In Spanish, educación, estás educado, you're educated because you're civil, you have manners, you're compassionate, you care about others. That's what educación means. In Spanish, you are preparado, right? Like in Mexico, the high schools are preparaciones. So they prepare people for a career. But that means that if you don't have a high school education or a college education, hey, you can still be educado, right? You can still be educated. And this is so important that we teach children this, because we want them to respect the people, the farm workers that put the food on our table, the janitors that clean our buildings, right? The people in the restaurants and the people that build our houses and build our cars, those workers need to be respected and admired. You know, in our schools, we don't teach labor history. How did we get the 8-hour day? How did we get weekends? Social Security, unemployment insurance, right? Pensions, public education, safety standards. We got that through labor unions, workers that came together and organized and fought so that people could have these benefits. And we know that labor unions are under attack. Even teachers' unions are under attack. You know, and when we think about if we destroy labor unions, we basically destroy the middle class of the United States of America. We destroy our democracy if we do not have labor unions, because labor unions create the middle class of our society. And we know right now in the Supreme Court of the United States, they are considering this Janus versus AFSCME, which will take away the right of labor unions to deduct the dues from their workers' wages. And this is a big threat in Wisconsin, where this happened. Labor lost almost 60% of their members of public unions. So this is a very big threat that we have right now today. So, and you know, I wish all of you teachers out there would look up May Day. You know, here in the United States, we celebrate Labor Day, and we don't celebrate May Day. Well, what happened on May Day? This is when they had these big marches of workers in Chicago, where people were killed, and they were fighting for the 8-hour day. And we don't teach that in the United States. Countries all over the world, Latin America, Europe, Asia, they celebrate May Day, but here we do not. So you might want to put that on your list, okay? If you can look it up, look it up and let your students know about May Day. Then we have these other issues about homophobia. Homophobia, okay? I know we have good laws against bullying, but we know it still goes on over there. So maybe we also have to include in our lessons things about a third gender, so that people who are LGBTQ can also be respected. I know that it's a lot. It's a lot of big issues that we have to handle in our country right now. But if we do not start it at our level, at the educational level, it'll never change. And I want to quote the Spanish philosopher José Ortega y Gasset, okay? José Ortega y Gasset said this: if you do not have an educated citizenry, then you will have mob rule. The greedy, the powerful, and the corrupt will govern a country. The greedy, the corrupt, and the powerful will govern our country. And this is what we see in our United States of America right now because of the income inequality that we have in our country. We know we have a big fight for the $15 minimum wage. But you know what? Our minimum wage, had it kept up with the cost of living, should be $30 an hour. Think about that. $30 an hour. People who work in the Jack in the Box, people who work at McDonald's, they should be getting paid $30 an hour because our minimum wage has not kept up. So this is another big hole that we have. We do not have economics that are taught in our school systems. So when we talk about, yeah, we should have universal health care. If people in Europe can have universal health care, if people in Latin America, if Cuba can have health care for all of their citizens, why can't we have it here in the United States of America when we're the richest, most powerful country in the world? And why can't we have a pre-college education for every one of our citizens in the United States of America? And of course, one of the reasons, even though we are the richest country in the world, they always say there's no money. There's not enough money. There's not enough money. Well, why isn't there enough money? Number one, because you've got what is it, 1% of our wealthiest family, 1%, that includes Walmart. By the way, friends do not let their friends shop at Walmart, okay? Remember that. So you've got 1% of the families, wealthy families in the United States that own 50% of the wealth. 1% own 50% of the wealth, okay? Then you've got 10% of the corporations and the wealthy families that own 90% of the wealth. 90% of the wealth of the United States of America. So there is something wrong with that picture. There is something wrong with that picture. And so these are the things that somehow we've got to start teaching in our classrooms so that people can understand that somehow things are not right in our United States of America. And I know, and we all know, that, as I said before, that we are in some difficult times right now, and that we've got to definitely do something about changing them. But you teachers, you are an army. Look around. See how many of you are here. See how many of you are here. And I know the teaching and the administering and all of the educational system is very, very hard. I used to be a teacher myself, okay? But I have to say to all of you, you've got to do more, okay? You've got to do more. Each one of you has got to become an organizer. You know, in the Farmers Union, we used to have a slogan, cada trabajador es un organizador. Every worker is an organizer. And I want to say to all of you teachers out there, you have got to become organizers because we are in a crisis in the United States of America. We are in a very big crisis because in addition to everything that's going on wrong here, whatever we do affects the rest of the world because we are such a powerful nation. And really, this year, 2018, we have an opportunity. See, we're going to build our own wall. They want to talk about a wall? Well, we're going to build a wall. But our wall is going to be in the U.S. Congress of the United States of America, okay? Right there in the U.S. Congress of the United States of America. So all of these terrible things that are coming out of this administration, that we can stop it. And then here in California, for our own state, public education is at risk. They're going after public education. They are going to try to deprive, our poor people, our working people, from having a quality education. We see it happening already. So we've got to understand that. And so this is, I think, very personal for all of you out here, but it's also very personal for all of the students and the families of this state that need your help. So we've got to become involved in this election. Nobody can afford nobody can afford to say, check out, and I'm not going to get involved. And please, I want to also encourage your students. Encourage us to give them credit. Give them credit to go out there and knock on doors to get the vote out. And some of you are thinking, well, my students are too young. Well, I want to tell you a story. One of the times when I was arrested for trespassing, okay, there was a group of students waiting for me when I came out of jail, and one of them handed me a note, and the note was for my 13-year-old daughter, Angela. And the note said, Mom, I'm sorry I can't be there to greet you. I'm busy knocking on doors to get out the vote, okay? Like, and I'm going to say just from my own experience, when you go out there and you knock on doors, guess what it does? It builds your emotional fortitude. It makes you strong. It makes you courageous because you're talking to people that you don't even know. And I know a lot of people say, oh, well, the Latinos, they don't vote. Well, take it, let's make it a personal responsibility that we're going to go out there and get our Latino people to vote. And sometimes you say, okay, why don't they vote? I'll tell you why. Because no quieren quedar mal, okay? They don't want to make a mistake, and they get this long ballot, and it's got a lot of names on it, and it's got a lot of propositions on it, and they don't want to make a mistake. So they just don't vote at all. And so we've got to go out there and say to them, don't worry, just vote for a good person for the Board of Education, okay? For our superintendent of schools, vote for the people that you know. Vote for, I think Javier Becerra's running again, okay? Tony Thurman's running. Tony Thurman's going to run for Board of Education. Vote for the people that you know, and the rest you can leave it blank. Can you do that? Can you all become the mentors in your neighborhoods for your people, to get them out to vote? We have to do that. My own foundation, the Dolores Huerta Foundation, this is part of the work that we do. We actually have about 20,000 voters in our area that we relate to. So we go door to door, we knock on the doors, we do phone banking, and we inform them about the issues that they have to vote on. And people respond. And by the way, one of the issues that we will be voting on, hopefully in November, with your help, to bring in $11 billion into our state revenues for education, and that is a proposition that we will be putting on the ballot in November. And as a matter of fact, we have petitions here today, okay? And we would like to ask you to help us get those signatures to put that on the ballot. You remember Prop 55, right? That brought in $9 billion, and we worked very hard on that one. Well, this one will bring in $11 billion into our state revenues, and that money will go for education. So we know, teachers, we know you need more money. We know you need more help, okay? It is a shame that our teachers do not have the resources that they need to teach our children. It is disgraceful, and it is a shame. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, our great president, during World War II, he said, we will not take one dime, we will not take one dime out of public education or our libraries. And this is in the middle of the war. That is how much back then that they really respected education. Well, as you know, in California, we were once #1 in public education. Now we are number 47. We are number 47 in education. Well, this has to stop, and there's something that we can do about it. And so we're going to ask your help, and we're going to be over there at the plaza, at the exhibit hall, and we're going to ask you to come by and please give us your signature. If you're a registered voter, we need your vote so that we can actually pass this measure in November. We can't waste time anymore. We've got to get out there, and we've got to be able to do this. And I think that we can make it happen. We just can't wait anymore for anybody to do this for us, okay? The one thing that I learned in the farm worker movement, and when people would ask Cesar and myself, how did you organize the farm workers? They're poor, they don't speak English, they're not citizens, they don't have any money. How did you do it? And basically what we said to the workers, you have the power to change things. And you know what? If you don't do it, nobody is going to do it for you. If you don't do it, nobody is going to do it for you. We can't wait. We have to take that responsibility upon ourselves. And so this is why I'm saying to you, and think of it, when we think about the farm worker movement, and I hope some of you saw the movie Dolores, when you see the farm workers, you know, so poor, so discriminated, and they were able to beat Richard Nixon, the President of the United States of America, and Ronald Reagan, okay? So if the workers could do this, then how much more can we not do? Those of us who are educated, we're bilingual, you know, we're kind of comfortable, maybe not wealthy, but we're kind of comfortable, so that we can make this time to make sure that we save public education in the United States of America, and especially in the state of California, where we know public education is really under attack. And by the way, we need to get more of you on school boards, all right? We need to get more of you on school boards. I just want to tell you the story of the Dolores Huerta Foundation. By the way, we are 15 years old now. We are celebrating our quinceañera in the Dolores Huerta Foundation, okay? Yeah, we've been in existence now for 15 years, and we are focusing on stopping the school-to-prison pipeline. You know, for many years, we heard them say, oh, the Latino kids are dropping out of school. The African-American kids are dropping out of school. And we believed it. It wasn't a dropout, it was a push-out. It was a push-out. Right here in the Central Valley of California, 40% of the highest school districts that are expelling and suspending children are in the Central Valley. 40% for the whole state, 40%. Who are these kids? These are farm worker kids that they're pushing out. We sued the Kern High School District in Bakersfield, California. They suspended 2,000 kids in a year and a half. African American children, 580% higher than white kids. Latino kids, 480% higher. So we sued them. And guess what? We won. And now, part of that settlement, they have to have positive behavior intervention systems, restorative justice systems, cultural competency training for the teachers, because they were recruiting teachers from South Dakota and Iowa, and we said, hey, why don't you go to San Jose, right, or LA to get teachers? You know, we have a lot of Latino teachers. Out of 22 high school districts, 1 Latino principal. That's what it is right now. So anyway, so these, you know, they're going to be changing, and then we're also going to sue them on the redistricting about the way that they elect people to the school board. So it's a war against our kids of color. We have recently started organizing in the Mojave School District. Guess what the expulsion rate there is? African American students are being expelled at 81%. 8 out of 10. This is criminal. This is a crime. And so we have the systemic racism that exists, and we've got to change it. We've got to come together to tear down those systems of oppression. Tear down those systems of oppression. And the only way that we can do that is by voting, all right? And I think the marches are great. Black Lives Matter, we need it. We need to stop having our people of color getting killed by police. The Me Too movement, yes, we need it. Occupy, all of that. But you know what? If we don't take it to the ballot box, it doesn't make any difference. If we don't take it to the ballot box, it doesn't make any difference. And this is why we've got to make voting the #1 priority in this next election, 2018. We have our opportunity. And I want to give you a quick little story about one of the people that belongs to our foundation. She's a farm worker, Leticia Prado. We organized her in a house meeting. And so she and her husband got together, and they passed a bond issue to build a brand new gymnasium at their middle school in Weed Patch. Weed Patch, California, that's where the Grapes of Wrath was filmed, down there south of Bakersfield. So they got this brand new gymnasium at their middle school. Then she decided to run for the school board. She got elected. She speaks very broken English, never went to high school, never went to college, but when she got elected to the school board, the superintendent wanted to get rid of the breakfast program for the farm worker kids because it was too much paperwork. So she got rid of the superintendent and she kept the breakfast program, okay? So please get involved. Look at your school board, see what they're doing, you know, make sure that maybe we can't wait for the whole ethnic studies program to kick in, but we can start doing it at the local level. You know, they can show the movie, Dolores, yes. They can show the movie about Emmett Till, about Matthew Shepard, a young gay man who was killed because he was gay. So we can start changing all of these discriminations and these isms that exist in our community. And by the way, when we have problems, and tell your students about Benito Juarez. Benito Juarez, the president of Mexico. And what is his famous dicho, his famous saying, el respeto al derecho ajeno es la paz. Respecting other people's rights is peace, right? A woman's right to her own body, her reproductive rights, her right to abortion if she so needs that, a person whom they marry, who they love, who they live with, if it happens to be of their own sex, that is their human right, okay? So let's teach them that. So in Bakersfield, California, we had our first Pride March ever last June, okay? So we're making progress. We're making progress there, okay? So I know we have a lot of work to do. I know that we're up to it, and so much depends on us, right? Not only our students, our communities, our families, our state, our nation. You, as I said before, you've got to be the Marines on the front line there. You are the ones that have to change people's thoughts, minds, and consciousness. And if we start with our kids and then try to reach the parents also, I think we could make it happen. Us on the ground organizing, and you at your level, and we can come together and we can make it happen. It is a sin that in the San Joaquin Valley of California, we have had only one university, University of Merced, from Sacramento to Bakersfield. You know how many prisons we have? 22. That's taxpayer money. That's taxpayer money. And it costs, as you know, costs more money to keep somebody in jail, as Jesse Jackson says, than to send them to Yale, okay? So I know that we can change that by all of us working together. If you want to learn more about the Dolores Huerta Foundation, we're at doloreshuerta.org. That's our website. And if you want to join our social movement, put on your cell phone, you can put joindhf.org, joindhf.org. And please, we're going to ask you, please again, come and sign our petition. We need your signature, and in November, we're going to need your vote. So we can make this country a very just place, as it should be. So, one more thing. When we get kind of sad, and we don't want you to get cynical or think there's nothing that we can do. Remember the poet Pablo Neruda, what he said. He said, pueden cortar todas las flores, pero no pueden detener la primavera. They can cut all the flowers, but they cannot hold back the spring. We, teachers, educators out there, we have to be the gardeners, and we're going to get those seeds of justice, and los vamos a remamar. Okay, we're going to spread them everywhere. And those seeds of justice are going to blossom, and we will have social justice for our people and for everyone. But again, who's going to do it? We have to do it. So I'm going to ask you the question, and this is a very important question. The question I'm going to ask you is really easy. I'm going to ask you, who's got the power? And I want you to say, we've got the power. And when I say, what kind of power? I want you to say people power, but I want you to shout it so loud that the neo-Nazis can hear us. Okay, so here we go. Way back there, really, really loud. Let's raise this roof, all right? Okay, let's go. Who's got the power? We got the power. Let's do it one more time. Más recio, más recio. Louder. Okay, let's go. Who's got the power? We got the power. What kind of power? Are we going to go out there? Are we going to organize? Are we going to become activists? Are we going to take our country back? Are we going to create justice? What do we say? ¿Se puede? Okay, everybody together. Step. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Que viva CABE. Que viva CABE. Que viva CABE. Que viva CABE. Viva. Gracias. Thank you.
Wow. On behalf of the CABE Board of Directors, we want to present Dolores Huerta with the Courageous Leadership Award. And who's got the power? Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the conference.